It was one of those rare moments in tennis where skill, instinct, and sheer magic combined to leave an entire stadium gasping. Carlos Alcaraz, just hours after lifting the Cincinnati Open trophy, walked onto the grand stage of Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York alongside Emma Raducanu. What followed wasn't just a mixed doubles clash at the U.S. Open. It turned into a viral highlight that has fans, players, and commentators still shaking their heads in disbelief. The matchup itself was already mouth-watering. Britain's Jack Draper, currently their #1 male player, teamed up with world #4 Jessica Pegula against the electrifying pair of Raducanu and Alcaraz. On paper, Draper and Pegula looked the stronger side. And when the match kicked off, they quickly showed why. Alcaraz, still carrying the fatigue of a grueling week in Cincinnati, was broken right out of the gate in his opening service game. Going down love, 40, he managed to save 1 point, but the pressure was simply too much. Draper pounced on the chance and took the early break. From there, the British-American duo settled in. With Draper's booming left-handed shots and Pegula's doubles instincts, they dictated much of the first set. Eventually, they closed it out 6-4, taking full advantage of that single break. For Raducanu and Alcaraz, it was a slow start. They struggled with rhythm and timing, especially against a pair as solid as Draper and Pegula. Emma did her best to hang in the rallies, but Alcaraz knew he had to raise the tempo if they were going to have any chance. And raise it he did. The second set started with a different energy. Raducanu, looking composed and focused, held serve to put her team ahead 1-0. The crowd, sensing a shift, started to get louder. Then came Pegula's turn to serve. At 40-0, it looked like another routine hold. Draper was sharp, firing a backhand that dragged Raducanu to the net. Emma stretched out her arm, trying desperately to make the return, but the ball whizzed past her. She instinctively ducked, almost as if conceding the point. What happened next was pure theater. Out of nowhere, Alcaraz came charging. He somehow reached the ball, twisting his body and unleashing a forehand that didn't go over the net but around it. That's right, a shot so outrageous, so improbable, that even the cameras seemed to hesitate before confirming it had landed in. For a split second, Arthur Ashe Stadium froze. And then it erupted. The fans roared to their feet, screaming, clapping, and cheering like they'd just witnessed a championship point. Emma Raducanu's jaw dropped. She spun around in disbelief, hands on her head, staring at her partner as though she couldn't process what had just happened. Even Jessica Pegula couldn't hide her reaction. She laughed, almost as stunned as everyone else in the building. On commentary, Nick Lester perfectly captured the moment. Look at Emma's face. She thought it was over. His co-commentator Laura Robson chimed in. She was already walking back to the chair. That is ridiculous. It wasn't just a point. It was a reminder of why Carlos Alcaraz has already become one of the most exciting players of his generation. To have the vision, the guts, and the athleticism to chase down a ball that almost everyone else had given up on, that's what separates the great from the good. And remember, this wasn't even 24 hours after he had lifted a title in Cincinnati. His legs should have been heavy, his energy drained. Yet here he was, sprinting, sliding, and pulling off circus-like winners on one of the biggest stages in tennis. For Raducanu, too, it was a special experience. Sharing the court with Alcaraz meant she got front-row seats to the kind of magic that social media instantly eats up. Her reaction alone became a viral clip, fans joking online that she had given up on the point before her partner came to the rescue. As the match wore on, the energy inside Arthur Ashe Stadium kept building. The crowd was fully behind the spectacle. Every time Alcaraz touched the ball, there was a murmur of anticipation, as though people were waiting for him to pull off the impossible again. Though Draper and Pegula had started strong, the highlight belonged to the Spaniard. The around-the-net post winner didn't just steal the show, it completely flipped the momentum. Suddenly, Raducanu and Alcaraz looked energized, feeding off the crowd's electricity. Emma, who had been a little hesitant earlier, began striking the ball with more confidence. Carlos, already buzzing from his moment of magic, continued to play with fearless creativity. Moments like these remind us why tennis is more than just numbers on a scoreboard. Fans don't only come to see who wins or loses, they come to see history, to witness something unforgettable. And in that single point, Alcaraz delivered exactly that. It was the kind of shot that will live on in U.S. Open highlight reels for years to come. As for the reactions, They told the whole story. The commentators, usually so composed, could hardly believe what they were describing. Raducanu's disbelief mirrored that of millions watching around the world. Pegula's laughter was a sign of respect. Even in the middle of competition, sometimes you just have to tip your hat to brilliance. And Draper, the man who had set the whole sequence in motion with his backhand, could only stand and shake his head. In the end, whether Alcaraz and Raducanu went on to win the match or not seemed almost secondary. The lasting memory was already written. Fans will remember the day Carlos Alcaraz turned Arthur Ashe Stadium into a theater, the day Emma Raducanu stood stunned as her partner pulled off the impossible, the day Jessica Pegula laughed at a winner hit against her, because it was just that outrageous. Every U.S. Open has its moments. Some are about glory, some about heartbreak, but a select few are about pure magic, the kind that reminds us why we fell in love with the sport in the first place. Carlos Alcaraz gave us one of those moments, and the world won't soon forget it.